You want proof that the California elections are rigged and stolen? Well, they're just admitting to it at this point. The systems are so fraudulent that you can never trust the results. And this is the same with the polling. The company behind the recent poll that showed Karen Bass has absorbed all of Spencer Pratt's support has just confirmed that their poll is entirely fake. It was laundered to the media as a social experiment. The poll could spread in the media ecosystem without verification. They're rigging the elections in real time. The company Median Strategies also conducted a recent poll in Wisconsin that showed that Francesca Hong, another communist, was up by 20 points. Hong lost her primary. It's all fake. It's all fake. Poll showing Bass leading Rahman by double digits was bogus. So why would they want to run a poll like this? Well, Nikki Rahman is this is an establishment. It's crazy that this is an establishment because she went and trained literally with Marxists in Cuba. Karen Bass is herself a communist, but she's the type of communist that's already been bought off, right? She's in Ghana when we're going to burn down all the neighborhoods. Nikki Rahman is something entirely different, right? She's from the third world. She's not, homegrown. She's somebody who doesn't have the same allegiances or alliances with the Democrat establishment. And so it's very important to try and destroy Nikki Rahman because, wow, we're actually watching a lot of socialists win and we can't control them. So let's make sure that we're running polls that show that Nikki Rahman isn't winning. That's not true. A poll claiming Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass was leading council member Nikki Rahman by a wide margin, picking up all the support of Spencer Pratt, because that makes a ton of sense, right? All the people that voted against Karen Bass because she burned their houses down are just going to totally forget that entirely, right? They're going to just jump on the bandwagon for the lady that burned all their houses down again. Okay. The fake poll by Median Strategies showed Bass leading Rahman by nearly 12 percentage points ahead of the November 3rd mayoral runoff. And she said the results were based on a survey of hundreds of Los Angeles voters. It had a 4% margin of error. Oh, okay. Glad they plucked that out of nowhere. But Monday, in response to repeated inquiries from the Times, the company said that the purported poll was nothing of the kind. Median Strategies was created as a short-term social experiment to examine how purported polling information could enter and spread through the political information ecosystem without independent verifications. Oh, okay. So you're just running fake poll. Then you need to be put in prison for this. You need to go to jail. You need to go to jail for this. Because what you're doing is that you're rigging an election. We already know the election's rigged, but this is another way to rig it, right? In the information and ecosystem. We are not seeking publicity or attribution for the individuals involved and are declining interviews. Oh, okay. You should be put in prison for this. Phony poll also claimed that 16% of the respondents said they'd voted for Pratt. 58% were planning on voting for Bass in the general. So what that means is that, Karen Bass has picked up all of Spencer Pratt's support. And Spencer Pratt did have a ton of support. Look at this. The gold is Spencer Pratt. Spencer Pratt got hundreds of thousands of votes, real actual votes, not these fake homeless votes that Nikki Rahman got. Who looks like they actually control LA more here, right? Spencer Pratt. You can see little gold sections all over the city. Nikki Rahman just controls literally the bombed out downtown ghetto and homeless infrastructure. And so this is a crazy scandal. Faced with the choice between an incumbent Democrat socialist aligned challenger, most Pratt voters are appearing to be going for Bass. So they're just rigging elections they're rigging elections by rigging the media ecosystem. Polls showing Bass leading LA mayor race was totally fake. Remember, all the polls are fake. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk, Spencer Pratt. They use fake polls. They use third world bots on their X accounts. They cheat wherever they can to give false impressions of popularity and inevitability. The socialist virus, because of the language of the communists, is a lie. These psychos aren't popular. They're just scammers. Vote. Don't let commies ruin anything or run anything. Not even dog catcher. You've seen how the DSA people treat dogs anyway. That's right. Look at this. They ran a fake poll. Final poll shows Francesca Hong with 22-point lead. She's our new socialist. It's amazing. The language of the communists is a lie. Polls are a weapon of propaganda. They game them constantly, specifically manipulate you with false impression of perceived acceptance. The KGB called this normalization. It's the communist revolution. Fake polls, literally. All they do is lie. You wonder why they don't. They lie about polls. You wonder if they lie about election results. This is all mainstream media polls. Pollsters are now casually admitting they're just faking it. Look, another fake poll. It cannot be trusted. It's information warfare to manipulate you. We literally made it up. Election rigging using polls. This is wild. Welcome to Los Angeles. Probably wasn't a social experiment. They're just scammers, right? I wasn't stealing. I was testing the store's anti-theft security. Spencer Pratt explained exactly how they were able to steal the election from him and how the system itself is as fake as these actual polls here in a beautiful breakdown. Goodness, I hope that Trump makes this man like czar over election security. Here we go.
You all saw how I was neck and neck with Karen Basura on election night, nearly double digits ahead of Nithya, just as the polling predicted.
Rahman fighting tears on election night, trailing Spencer Pratt by roughly 40,000 votes and about 10 percentage points.
I dominated the in-person vote. I smashed Nithya on the mail-in ballots, too. She was crying on election night. It was over. Then a few days later, suddenly Nithya started overperforming as they continued to accept ballots 7 days after the election.
But days of county mail-in ballots have changed the map.
I'm so grateful.
Rahman has now erased a 40,000 vote deficit and moved ahead of Pratt by roughly 3,000 votes, a net swing of more than 43,000 votes.
43,000 votes, which just happens to be the exact number of homeless people on the streets in LA. They assured everyone that this is normal because for some reason that they can't explain, Democrats overwhelmingly vote by mail.
There's a historical phenomenon in national voting called the Red Mirage.
The Red Mirage.
What we were calling a Red Mirage.
The Red Mirage.
Red Mirage. Yeah. This term was coined because about some swing states count votes, usually favoring Republicans early. Then it becomes an advantage for Democrats later in the evening and then into the next morning.
You expect to see the Republican with a lead, but it's not really a lead.
Democrats vote in higher numbers by a mail-in ballot. Historically, Democrats vote in higher numbers by mail-in ballots.
But not all Democrats, just the ones who were voting for the third place candidate, the one candidate who really needed the votes. Don't forget, there were 2 Democrats in the race, but for some reason, only the third place Democrat who needed the votes saw a disproportionate spike in votes several days after the election. Plus, multiple studies have shown that mail voting doesn't provide an advantage to either party. It's a myth. The media will say that claims of fraud here are without evidence. Keep in mind, an anomalous statistical spike like this is evidence of fraud. Ask any forensic accountant. It may not be necessarily proof of fraud, but it is certainly evidence of fraud. But forget the late ballots. Just because the vote swing coincidentally matched the specific LASA count of homeless people on the streets, just because NGOs that Nithya cuts checks to were hoarding ballots, just because hundreds of thousands of dead people and ex-presidents who've left California were still on the voter rolls, doesn't mean anyone is taking those loose ballots and filling them out. First off, it's against the law. And we all know if it's against the law, it doesn't happen. Secondly, we have signature verification. Everyone has to sign their ballot, and a computer checks your signature. Well, except some voters can't sign, so they carved out a rule where you can just make a mark on the ballot, and a witness can sign on your behalf. It can be an X or a scribble or even a happy face, as long as a witness signs off on it. And don't forget, once they separate the ballot from the envelope, there's zero way to trace it back to the ballot to check if a sudden tranche of votes that swung predominantly to one candidate had come from a bunch of ballots with the happy faces in the signature box. The DSA instructs their ballot harvesters to go door to door and tell them to vote for Nithya Rahman and even help them fill in the bubble for their preferred socialist candidates. This is explicitly illegal. A ballot harvester can't tell you how to vote, and they certainly can't help you fill out the ballot. But laws don't matter if you have no mechanism in place to prevent the crime from occurring in the first place. There is this misnomer being parroted even by staunch critics of California's rigged voting system, saying there's nothing you can do because this is all legal in California. It's not legal. Even by California's own ridiculous laws, all this stuff is still illegal. They've simply removed all the mechanisms to catch the fraud and prevent it from happening. It's like a bank heist, but California has made a law that you can't lock the bank vault. You're not allowed to have security cameras, and you can't count the money inside the vault. Robbing the bank is still 100% illegal, but there's no way to stop it from happening.